All right, so you're prepping for program manager interviews and sent over this interview prep resource.
Hmm.
20 program manager interview questions and answers to help you prepare.
Nice.
Smart move. We'll break down the best parts
Mm.
and yeah, help you nail those interviews.
Yeah, these kinds of questions often trip people up because they're not always about straightforward project management steps.
Right.
They want to see how you think.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's not enough to just know the process. You have to show them you can lead.
right.
One thing that jumped out at me was how much interview prep stresses soft skills.
Oh, for sure.
Like, question 3 is all about handling difficult stakeholders. It's
Yeah.
not just about Gantt charts, it's about people skills.
Yeah, and what's fascinating about that question is it reveals a core truth about program management.
Okay.
You can have the best plan in the world, but if you can't get buy-in from stakeholders and manage expectations and navigate conflict,
Oh,
the
yeah.
project is doomed.
So true. It's almost like they're testing your ability to be a diplomat as much as a project manager.
100%.
And the example answer interview prep gives is gold.
It is.
Talking about respect, win-win outcomes,
Yeah.
even taking responsibility when things go wrong.
Mm.
That's the kind of stuff that shows real leadership.
It shows maturity and emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And that's something you can't fake in an interview.
Right.
It has to come from genuine experience.
Speaking of experience, interview prep does something really smart by providing real-world examples for each question.
I agree.
Like describe a time when you had to manage multiple projects simultaneously. They use a software development example,
Mm-hmm.
but you could totally adapt it to your own field.
What I find useful about those examples is they highlight the key elements the interviewer is looking for.
Okay.
Structure, prioritization, communication, and ultimately delivering results under pressure.
Right.
It gives you a framework to build your own answer around. It's like they're giving you the building blocks, and you just have to arrange them in a way that tells your story.
Exactly.
Now, one methodology interview prep specifically calls out is Agile.
Of course.
Question 15 jumps right into it, which makes sense because Agile is everywhere these days.
And for anyone listening who might not be as familiar with Agile, it's not enough to just know the buzzwords.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really understand how it impacts the way you manage projects.
Right.
Think about it like this. Traditional project management is like building a house from a blueprint.
Okay.
Agile is more like building with Legos.
Okay.
You have a vision, but you're constantly adapting and iterating based on feedback.
So instead of rigidly sticking to a plan, you're embracing flexibility and responding to change.
Exactly.
That's got to be crucial in today's fast-paced world.
Absolutely. And for seasoned program managers, the interview might go even deeper.
Oh.
They might ask about different Agile frameworks like Scrum or Kanban,
Mhm.
the challenges you've faced implementing Agile or how you've adapted it to specific projects.
Mhm.
It's about showing that you don't just know the theory. You've actually lived it.
For sure.
Now, this is where interview prep gets really interesting.
Okay.
They throw in questions that go beyond the typical project management stuff.
Right.
Like question 19 about navigating legal or regulatory issues.
Uh-huh.
You wouldn't immediately think of that as part of a program manager's job, but
It highlights the reality that program management often extends beyond internal project dynamics. You might be dealing with external stakeholders, compliance requirements, even unforeseen legal challenges.
Wow.
Being able to demonstrate strategic thinking and ethical decision-making in those situations is huge.
It shows you're thinking about the bigger picture and the potential risks involved.
Totally.
It's not just about getting the project done, it's about doing it right.
I like that.
And that brings us to something I think a lot of people struggle with measuring success.
Yeah.
Interview prep tackles this head-on with question 20,
Mm-hmm.
asking how you evaluate a program's success once it's completed.
Most people would default to on time and within budget, but this resource pushes you to go deeper.
Right.
It wants you to think about the long-term impact, the return on investment customer satisfaction,
Yeah.
those metrics that go beyond checking boxes.
It's about connecting the project to the bigger strategic goals of the organization
For sure.
and being able to articulate that to stakeholders in a way that resonates.
And that's what sets apart a good program manager from a great one.
Right.
They see the bigger picture and understand how their work contributes to the overall success of the organization.
Right.
It's not just about managing tasks, it's about driving business outcomes.
Okay, so we've got soft skills, real-world examples, a deep dive into Agile, and a focus on the bigger picture.
That's right.
But interview prep doesn't stop there.
Okay.
They have this subtle way of guiding you to showcase your unique approach and personality, which I think is brilliant.
It's about finding that balance between demonstrating competence and letting your personality shine through.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, they're not just hiring a skill set, they're hiring a person.
That's a really good point. It's
Yeah.
like they're saying, okay, the basics, now show us what makes you as a program manager.
Right.
Like with question 1, what strategies do you use to ensure successful project completion?
Yeah.
It's such a standard question, but the way interview prep frames the answer is all about showcasing your personal approach.
What's interesting here is they're not just looking for a list of textbook strategies.
Hmm.
They want to see how you've adapted those strategies to your own style and the specific challenges you faced.
So it's not just I always create a detailed project plan.
Right.
It's more like, here's how I tailor my planning process depending on the project, the team, and the overall goals.
Exactly. And that's what makes you memorable to an interviewer.
Yeah.
They're not looking for a cookie cutter program manager. They're looking for someone who brings fresh ideas and a unique perspective.
I'm seeing that theme of individuality pop up a lot in this resource.
Yeah.
Like with question 6, how do you prioritize tasks and delegate responsibilities among team members?
Right.
Again, it's a classic question.
Yeah.
But interview prep pushes you to talk about your personal process.
It's about showcasing your leadership style.
Mm-hmm.
How you assess priorities, how you communicate expectations, how you create an environment where your team can thrive.
It's about showing them you're not just a manager, you're a leader.
Exactly.
And this ties into something crucial for your career goals.
Okay.
What kind of leader do you want to be? What are the values that drive you?
Because those values should inform your answers.
Right.
If you're all about collaboration, highlight that. If you're passionate about empowering your team, let that shine through.
It's about being authentic and letting your true self come through.
Exactly.
That's what will resonate with the interviewer.
And that's what interview prep does so well.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you the tools and guidance,
Right.
but it also encourages you to embrace your individuality.
Now, I'm noticing a lot of these questions ask for specific situations or examples.
For sure.
It's not just about knowing the theory. It's about bringing those concepts to life through stories.
Storytelling is a powerful tool in interviews.
Oh, yeah.
It's how you make your answers memorable and engaging. Instead of just saying, I'm a good communicator,
Yeah.
you tell a story about a time when you had to communicate a difficult decision to stakeholders and how you navigated that successfully.
It's like painting a picture for the interviewer,
Exactly.
using vivid language, describing the challenges, the actions you took, and the results you achieved.
And don't shy away from talking about your failures, too.
Right.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
But what matters is how you learn from them and how you apply those lessons to future situations.
So if they ask about a time when a project went off track, own up to it, but also highlight what you learned and how you grew as a result.
It shows self-awareness and a willingness to learn, which are incredibly valuable qualities in any candidate, and it's a chance to showcase your problem-solving skills.
Talk about how you identified the root cause, the steps you took to correct it, and the preventative measures you put in place.
You're essentially turning a negative into a positive,
Right.
showing that you can handle adversity with grace and resilience.
So for anyone listening, as you go through interview prep and prep for your interview, think about the stories you want to tell.
For sure.
Choose stories that showcase your skills, your personality, and your values.
And practice telling those stories in a clear, concise, and engaging way.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it.
Interview prep does this interesting thing
Yeah.
where they subtly push you to present yourself not just as a competent project manager, but as a leader who's passionate about continuous improvement.
I see what you mean. It's not something you'd necessarily expect in a traditional project management interview, but it speaks to a deeper level of thinking.
Like question 16, do you have any experience with process improvement initiatives?
Right. It's about going beyond just executing tasks and asking, how can we do this better?
And that's a quality organizations crave in program managers. They want leaders who are proactive, who are constantly looking for ways to optimize processes, enhance efficiency, and ultimately deliver greater value.
So even if you haven't been formally involved in process improvement initiatives, think about times when you've identified areas for improvement in your own work.
Maybe you streamlined a workflow, automated a task, or introduced a new tool that saved time and resources.
Those are all examples that demonstrate your commitment to continuous improvement.
And be sure to talk about the why behind your actions.
Right.
Why did you see a need for improvement? What were your goals? How did you measure the impact of your changes?
It shows you're not just making changes for the sake of change. You're being thoughtful and strategic in your approach.
And that you're driven by a desire to make a real difference.
Yeah.
This ties back to your career goals, too.
Okay.
Being able to demonstrate that you're a driver of positive change is a huge asset in today's world. It shows you're not content with the status quo. You're always looking to push the boundaries and achieve better outcomes.
And that's the kind of leader organizations are looking for. What ties all these elements together is this underlying message of authenticity.
I was just thinking that. It's like interview prep is saying, don't just give us the right answers. Show us who you really are.
Because at the end of the day, they're not just hiring a skill set, they're hiring a person.
Right.
They want someone who's a good fit for their team, their culture, their organization.
And the best way to find that fit is to be yourself.
Absolutely.
Don't try to force yourself into a mold. Let your genuine enthusiasm, your passion for the work, and your unique perspective shine through.
Because that's what will make you stand out from the crowd and make a lasting impression.
Now, as you prepare for your interview,
Yeah.
how can someone really internalize this idea of authenticity?
Start by reflecting on your values.
Okay?
What's important to you in your work? What kind of impact do you want to make? What principles guide your decision-making?
That's such a good starting point, because once you're clear on your values, it's easier to align your actions and your words.
Exactly. And once you've identified those values, think about how they've shown up in your past experiences.
Okay.
Choose stories that illustrate those values in action.
Those stories will be more genuine and that authenticity will shine through.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to let your personality show. If you have a sense of humor, use it.
Yeah.
If you're passionate about a particular topic, let that enthusiasm come through.
It's those little glimpses of personality that make you memorable and help the interviewer connect with you on a human level.
Remember, the interview is a two-way street.
Right.
It's a chance for you to get to know the company and the people you'd be working with.
So ask thoughtful questions, engage in genuine conversation, and most importantly, be yourself.
Because when you're authentic, you're at your best.
That's great advice. It feels like we've really uncovered the essence of what interview prep is trying to convey.
We have, and this resource is truly a fantastic tool for anyone preparing for a program manager interview. It gives you the tools, the guidance, and the inspiration to showcase your best self.
And as we head into the final part of our deep dive, let's keep this focus on authenticity in mind.
Because it's the key to unlocking your full potential and landing that dream job.
Going through this interview prep guide with you, it really feels like having a secret weapon.
Yeah.
They lay out the questions, the tips, the examples. You're practically ready to walk into that interview and blow them away.
Preparation is key, no doubt. But here's the thing. Interview prep does more than just arm you with tactics.
Okay.
They subtly nudge you to consider the bigger picture. What kind of program manager do you want to be?
Right. It's not just about getting the job. It's about finding the right fit.
What makes you unique? What are your values? Those questions matter because they shape everything you do, from how you approach problems to how you lead a team.
So it's almost like interview prep is saying, don't just memorize the answers, internalize the principles.
Exactly.
Let your genuine self come through, and you'll find the place where you truly belong.
And that's where the real magic happens. When your skills and your passions align, that's when you thrive.
Yeah.
So as you prep for these interviews, don't just focus on getting the job.
Right.
Think about what kind of leader you want to be, what kind of impact you want to make.
Let those answers guide you. Show them who you are, not just what you know. And trust me, the right opportunity will come along.
Good luck out there. You got this.
Yeah.